My mom's voice cut through the chaos. "Sweetheart, calm down. Don't be selfish. You don't need this whole house to yourself." And just like that, years of saving, years of sacrifice were dismissed with a smile. Movers. I didn't hire hauled boxes with my sister's name scrawled across them while my dad barked orders from upstairs like he owned the deed. For one terrifying second, I wondered if maybe I was the problem, too stubborn, too protective. Maybe you're already thinking the same, that I'm selfish, cold. But hear me out. I love my family. I always have. And if you stay until the end, you'll see why I had no choice. My name is Savannah Cole. I'm 30 years old, and this house, the one they tried to invade, wasn't a gift. It wasn't handed down in a will or bought with anyone else's money. I earned it. Every late night at the office, every skipped vacation, every extra freelance gig I took on it, all went into the down payment for the place I dreamed about. A home by the lake. My safe place. My proof that I wasn't just the forgotten daughter, the one they always overlooked in favor of my sister. Growing up, it was always her. She was the golden child, the miracle, the one who could do no wrong. If she brought home a B on her report card, my parents clapped like she'd solved world hunger. If I brought home an A, they barely looked up. Birthdays hers meant balloons and sheet cakes and family packed into the living room. Mine. Mine, God will celebrate later, that never came. You think a kid forgets that? No, it sticks. By the time we were teenagers, the roles were carved in stone. She was the princess. I was the spare. And you know what? I stopped asking for their attention. I started building my own life, my own identity, brick by brick. I worked through college, pulled myself up without their help, and promised myself one day I'd own something they couldn't take away. When I signed the deed to this house, I thought I'd finally broken free. I thought maybe they'd even be proud, finally notice what I'd achieved. But pride was never in the cards. Instead, I got comments like, "Must be nice not having kids to worry about," or "Don't get too comfortable, Savannah. Life changes." I smiled through it, even when it stung, because I thought distance would keep the peace. I kept the peace for years. Phone calls on holidays, polite visits, a spare key left with them for emergencies. I thought boundaries were clear. I thought wrong. Because on that afternoon when my neighbor's call came through and I raced home, what I found was the ugliest truth of all. They didn't see my success as mine. They saw it as theirs to redistribute. My mom with her calm smile, my dad with his thunderous voice, my sister with her smug husband by her side. They stood in my house like I was the intruder. And I realized this wasn't just a bad decision or a family misunderstanding. This was war. The moment I crossed that threshold, it was like stepping into an alternate reality. Movers I didn't know were trudging across my hardwood floors, carrying boxes with my sister's handwriting scrawled on the sides. Kitchen, master bedroom, kids' room. My stomach turned. That was my bedroom, my sanctuary. "Stop!" I shouted, my voice sharper than I'd planned. Everyone froze for a second. The movers glanced at each other, uncertain. My mom gave me that patient, pitying smile, the one that always made me feel like a child who didn't understand the rules of her own house. "Sweetheart, calm down," she said again, her hands lifting as if she were soothing a tantrum. "Your sister's family is struggling. You have all this space. You don't need it." I clenched my fists. "This is my house. Paid for with my money. You don't get to move people in without asking me." My dad's voice thundered from upstairs. "Don't be selfish, Savannah. Family shares. You should be grateful you even have this place. Now it can actually serve a purpose." That word selfish burned hot in my chest. They had spent my whole life painting me that way, as if having boundaries was selfish, as if working for something and wanting to keep it was selfish. Then my sister stepped forward. Her arms crossed her chin, tilted high, her husband smirking behind her. "Oh, come on, Savannah. Don't act like you need this house. You're single. No kids. No responsibilities. You don't even know what it's like to carry a real burden." Her words hit harder than my dad's roar, because deep down they confirmed what I'd always known, that in their eyes I wasn't enough. My choices didn't matter. My life was just a placeholder until something better came along. The movers shifted awkwardly, clearly uncomfortable, with the family drama exploding in front of them. One finally spoke, Ma'am, your mom hired us. Should we keep unloading?" I turned my voice steady, even though my insides were trembling. "No, stop unloading. Right now. She's not the owner." "I am. And if you keep carrying boxes into my house, you're complicit in theft." They hesitated only a beat before setting the boxes down and edging toward the door. One of them even muttered under his breath, "Good luck," as if he knew exactly what kind of nightmare I was up against. That was the moment it hit me. This wasn't just a misunderstanding. It wasn't even just disrespect. It was an invasion, planned, coordinated, carried out with the assumption that I would fold because folding was what I'd always done. Not this time. I pulled out my phone and hit record. The red light blinked, catching everything: the movers' boxes, my mom directing traffic, my dad stomping down the stairs, my sister standing smug in the middle of my living room. Savannah turned that off. Mom snapped her mask, slipping for just a second. "This is family business." "No," I said, my voice cold. "This is legal business now." My sister lunged forward, trying to grab my phone. "Delete that, you're not going to make us look bad." I stepped back, lifting the phone higher. "You don't need me to make you look bad. You're doing a great job on your own." For once, she didn't have a comeback. My dad's face turned red, his voice booming. "You will not drag this family's name through the mud over a misunderstanding." I laughed, bitter and sharp. "A misunderstanding. You broke into my house, you hired movers, you tried to shove me out of my own life. Tell me, Dad, what part of that is a misunderstanding?" The room went silent. Only the sound of my heart hammering filled my ears. And that was the turning point. The moment they realized the old Savannah, the one who stayed quiet, who let them rewrite the rules, was gone. I locked eyes with each of them and knew I wasn't going to fold this time. Not ever again. They thought I was bluffing. My dad puffed out his chest like his authority could erase my name off the deed. My mom tried soft diplomacy, lowering her voice, tilting her head using the same tone she once used to trick me into apologizing when I hadn't done anything wrong. My sister crossed her arms and whispered to her husband like I couldn't hear her, "She won't do it. She's too scared." But fear wasn't running the show anymore. I walked straight to the front door, shut it, and slid the deadbolt with a sharp click. The sound echoed in the room like a warning shot. My sister flinched, my dad's jaw clenched. "You're not welcome here," I said flatly. "Not anymore." For a moment, no one moved. They were waiting for me to crack the way I always did, waiting for the apology, for the nervous laugh, for me to backpedal. But I didn't. I stood in the doorway with my phone still recording, the red light blinking like a witness. Mom gasped, her voice sharp now. "Savannah, don't say things you can't take back. We're your parents." I held up my phone, scrolling back to the video I just captured, the movers, the boxes, the chaos. "This goes to my lawyer tonight. And if you ever step foot in here without my permission again, the police will see it too." My dad stepped forward, his face dark with fury. "You wouldn't dare call the police on your own family." I stared him down. "Try me." That was when the bravado started to crack. My sister's husband muttered something about leaving, tugging at her sleeve, but she shook him off. She still believed she could talk me down. "You think anyone will believe you over Mom and Dad? Everyone knows you're dramatic. They'll laugh at you." I smiled, cold, calm, deliberate. "Everyone will believe the deed with my name on it. Everyone will believe the video footage. Everyone will believe the texts and emails where you already admitted you're moving in." Silence. Thick, heavy, suffocating silence. They picked up their boxes in angry, jerky motions, muttering curses under their breath. I didn't move until the last one stepped outside. Then I slammed the door and locked it again. This time, the click didn't sound like a warning. It sounded like victory. But victory alone wasn't enough. I knew them. I knew they'd twist the story, paint me as cold, ungrateful, a monster who turned on her own blood. I couldn't let them control the narrative, so I took a photo. Just one. The front door. boxes stacked outside with my sister's name in big black marker. I posted it online with 5 words: when family forgets boundaries. The response was instant. Friends, coworkers, old classmates I hadn't spoken to in years. DMs poured in. Sympathy, outrage, stories of their own families crossing lines. For once, I wasn't the one standing alone in the dark. By nightfall, my phone was buzzing nonstop. My mom, my dad, my sister. 100 missed calls. The same people who told me I didn't matter were suddenly desperate for me to take the post down. And that's when I knew the counterattack had already begun. By Friday night, the silence was over. My phone buzzed so hard it nearly slid off the kitchen counter. Text after text, call after call. Desperate voicemails I didn't bother answering. For years, I was the one waiting by the phone, wondering why my birthday went forgotten, why my accomplishments never mattered. Now it was their turn to wait, their turn to beg. At 8:14 p.m., my mother's voice cracked through a voicemail. "Savannah, please. Take it down. We'll talk. We'll make it right." A minute later, my dad's voice boomed. "Enough is enough. You've proved your point. Stop this before it ruins us." My sister's message came last sharp and entitled, "Delete it, Savannah. You don't know what you're doing." But I did. For the first time in my life, I knew exactly what I was doing. Saturday morning pounding rattled my front gate. I pulled up the camera feed on my phone and saw them, my parents, my sister, her husband, all standing there like exiles outside the gates of a kingdom they thought they owned. My mom's mascara was smeared, her pearls missing her face, pale. "Savannah, please," she shouted, her voice cracking. "We can talk this out. Don't do this to us." My dad's tone wasn't booming this time. It was smaller, almost pleading. "Maddie, you've made your point. Enough. You don't understand what people are saying about us. You're tearing the family apart." I almost laughed. Tearing the family apart. They'd been tearing me apart for years, cutting me down, dismissing me, replacing me, while pretending it was love. Then my sister stepped forward, her eyes red, her fists clenched. "Delete the post. Let us move in, or I swear you'll regret this." I leaned close to the microphone on my intercom, my voice steady, razor sharp. "Regret you pawned my trust for years. You tried to steal my home. You humiliated me every chance you got. And now because the world finally sees it, I should regret you." Her lips trembled. Her husband pulled at her arm, but she stood frozen. I tapped my screen and triggered the alarm. A shrill siren blared across the quiet neighborhood, sending them scrambling back toward their car. Neighbors peeked through curtains. Dogs barked. My family, once so proud, so polished, so untouchable, looked like nothing more than intruders fleeing a crime scene. But the humiliation wasn't just outside my gate. It was everywhere. By Monday morning, my post had been shared thousands of times. My coworkers stopped by my desk whispering, "Is it true my sister's boss confronted her about the scandal?" My mom's charity group cut her off completely. No more luncheons, no more glossy photos in society columns. Dad's golf buddies suddenly stopped returning his calls. The golden image they had polished for decades shattered with one crack. And the best part, I didn't have to scream, didn't have to fight in their language. All I had to do was hold up a mirror. Their actions were enough to ruin them. Of course they didn't give up. The second wave came with guilt trips and theatrics. One night, my dad's message said, "We're your parents. We raised you. Don't you owe us loyalty, loyalty. The same loyalty that was never returned to me. The same loyalty they only invoked when it meant me losing something." My mom's voice softened in another voicemail. "Family sacrifices Savannah. That's what love is. Funny how sacrifice only ever seemed to flow one way, mine and my sister. She tried a different tactic. You're ruining our lives over nothing. You'll end up alone, Savannah, completely alone. Maybe once that would have terrified me. But standing in my living room staring at the lake glimmering through the windows, I didn't feel alone. I felt free. Still, I wasn't naive. I knew shame could turn to anger fast and anger could get ugly, so I gathered more evidence. I sent everything to my lawyer, the video, the photo of the mover's contract. I'd snapped even the voicemails. He emailed me back, "This is airtight. You're protected." The next confrontation came face to face. I was returning from the grocery store when I saw them parked across the street in their car like stalkers. As I loaded bags into my trunk, my mom got out waving her hands. "Savannah, please, just 5 minutes." I stood straight, my keys dangling from my hand like a weapon. "You don't get 5 minutes. Not after this." Dad climbed out next, his voice low defeated. "You can't destroy us over pride. Think of your sister's children. Where will they go?" My throat tightened. For a second, the old guilt flickered because I did love those kids. They were innocent. But then I remembered it wasn't about them. It was about the people who used them as pawns. I shut the trunk, my voice flat. "They'll go wherever you provide for them. That's not my responsibility." My sister shoved her door open, her face twisted with rage. "You heartless witch, you'll regret this. You'll regret ever crossing me." I met her glare, calm as stone. "I already regret giving you a chance to walk in that door. That won't happen again." She froze, then slammed her door so hard the car rattled. They drove off, tires screeching. Neighbors came out to stare. I didn't flinch. I wanted witnesses. By the end of the week, the balance had shifted completely. The calls slowed. The threats faded into silence. They weren't just losing me, they were losing everyone else, too. And for the first time, I realized something revenge didn't always come with fire and fury. Sometimes it came with ice-cold patience. It came with standing your ground, refusing to fold and letting people destroy themselves with their own hands. And that was exactly what I did. By the following Monday, the storm had broken. My post was still pinned at the top of my profile, gathering comments, shares, and quiet nods of solidarity from strangers who had lived through their own betrayals. Meanwhile, my family's perfect facade was gone. Mom's charity friends stopped returning her calls. Dad's once commanding presence at the golf course had turned into whispers behind his back. My sister, so sure she'd waltz into my home, was barely holding on at her job, her boss unimpressed by the scandal swirling around her name. And me, I sat on my back deck, coffee in hand, watching the lake shimmer under the morning sun. For the first time in years, the silence didn't feel heavy. It felt earned. I hadn't just defended my house, I had defended myself. And that realization was worth every broken tie, every unanswered call. In the end, I learned love doesn't mean surrender. Family should never be an excuse to bulldoze someone's boundaries. For years, I let myself be the forgotten one, the doormat, the easy target. But the moment I drew the line, everything changed. My house isn't just mine, it's proof that I matter, proof that their control is over. If this story struck a chord with you, tell me in the comments, have you ever had to stand up against your own family? Your words remind me I'm not alone. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that hit close to home.